fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Okay, this book of Tom Bowers, I personally don't have it yet. All I have access to is what people post, and they're actually taking pictures of the pages, so I can be sure what I'm reading, it's not there just verbatim or whatever. And one of the things that have come up that kind of piqued my interest was the part about Archie and the skin color and whatnot. And apparently, according to Tom Bauer, and he has the receipts, it was Charles, Camilla, and Harry. And it was even before they got married, before Meghan was pregnant. Meghan took that conversation and turned it into a weapon. And one of the things that happened was that Catherine was blamed for it. Apparently it was Charles and Catherine, not Charles and Camilla. Now, we did those readings, do you remember? And Catherine was going through her cancer at that point, and I kept reading, Catherine is really upset with Charles. Catherine is really upset with Charles. And then it turned to Catherine is really upset with Camilla. And you could just feel the iciness from that. And now it turns out Catherine was thrown under the bus to protect Camilla. And nobody stood up for her. Nobody corrected that it was Charles and Camilla, not Charles and Catherine. And a point was made that it was always to save Camilla. Right? That's the line in the sand. Everybody takes a hit for Camilla. I just want to ask my cards, is this the turning point? Because before that, it was my darling daughter-in-law, and you could see how close they all were and whatnot. And there's even an article in the Daily Mail how Camilla's really jealous of Carol Middleton because the children and William, of course, and Catherine all respond to Carol Middleton much more and more friendly, more loving. And I mean, it was really gossipy that Camilla actually is concerned that Carol is actually the matriarch of the family and not Camilla. And I thought, well, yeah, Carol's the real mother. You're not Camilla. You're not. You're the stepmother. And why would you be the matriarch? You've got your own family. You can be the matriarch of your own family. I think she's really starting to crap her pants what's going to happen when Charles is gone. I think they're setting things up right now. Let's find out. So anyways, I've got Catherine's Baroque cards on here. Let's just ask, was that the pivot point? Was that the pivot point that Catherine was so upset that she was thrown under the bus to save Camilla while she was going through cancer? Why did no one stand up and do any kind of corrections? What's going on? What's going on? How does Catherine feel about that? And was that a pivot point? Cards are ready. In case you didn't see the other two videos, I'll make this quick. I've opened up the private readings. Links are in the description below, and I've also made a post about it, and I explain it all there. And it has to be by donation only, and then I don't get any chargebacks. All right. Oh, the Fool in reverse. Catherine was made to look like a fool. Oh. It actually made everybody look foolish, really. Because remember, the names were blacked out in the UK, but it was accidentally in the Dutch edition. Well, who would have accidentally put in Catherine's name? Who would have? And actually, the translator said we did not put those names in there. We didn't know them because they weren't in the original English transcript that we got. Catherine felt like a fool and was made to look foolish. Wow. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. She felt terrible. Oh, that poor lady. Oh, that poor lady. You just want to cry for her. Wow, Queen of Swords in reverse. Oh my. Cutting. Feeling like she had no legal recourse. Look how dark these cards are. Page of Swords. There's the information on the internet. There it is, released on the internet. Even though this would have been like the NDA, and this also would have been the transcript that was approved by the palace, right? No publisher would publish a book without it going first through the royal lawyers when it's about the royals. And this is to me showing that those rules were thrown out the window and it was put on the internet. The Emperor in reverse. This actually did damage her relationship with Charles. 100%. Charles look at this. Charles showed up and Catherine showed up. Now, the Queen of Swords is Sophie, but I don't think that Sophie had anything to do with it. I think this is the legal transcript that was breached. That's what the Queen of Swords is. She looks after all the legalities. All the legalities. Also can be somebody who is divorced or widowed. We know Meghan is divorced. But she looks after all the contracts, all the legalities, the wills, the leases, the business contracts. She makes sure that they are cut and dry. And when they're in reverse, they have been breached. They haven't been followed. They've been undone. Oh, my Lord. King of Cups on top. There he is. He was like, now. How now, brown cow? That's not William. That's not William. 10 of Wands. The big burden. The big burden. Page of Wands in reverse. Bad news that grows. That has... See what I mean by bad news that grows? It's something that becomes bigger than it should be. Like when the Dutch translator said... Yeah, those names were not there. I have no idea how they got there. We got the official English one to translate, and those names weren't there. That should have been the end of it. But it still grows to this day. To this day, they call her KKK Kate and racist, and it just was bad news that grew and grew and grew. I normally don't read William as King of Cups. I'm almost getting that this is Charles trying to comfort Catherine in some regards. Like, you take the burden. And then this was something that has actually stuck to Catherine's shoe. She can't get rid of it. 10 of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Like, it was devastating for both of them. I think more so Catherine, because she was 100% innocent. She wasn't even in the room. It had nothing to do with her. Plus, it was taken so far out of context. Like, honestly, the whole conversation. One time, when I was a financial advisor, and Twitter was quite young back then, there was something about Afghanistan. And it was, I don't know, I think like how the people were suffering, right? So I don't know if it was like women and children were suffering under the Taliban or something like that. And I put I just innocently, and it was with my business name, I put "no one cares" because there was no comments under it. No comments at all. Someone posted this, there was no comments. I put the first comment, "no one cares." And everybody assumed what I meant was, no one cares if they're starving or they have, get beaten. No, what I meant was there's no comments, nobody cares. So see how things can get out of context like that. I'm going to say this damn near killed her. The Magician in reverse. And it was a spin doctoring. And it was making a lot of things up and manufacturing things and manifesting things. And I think that this is interesting. It just hit me. Catherine and I have been through the exact same thing. Being accused of something you absolutely didn't do, but it grows like wildfire on the internet. I mean, I'm certainly not at the interest of Catherine. And it certainly didn't go to this amount, but I know what it feels like to be accused of something you did not do. And people on the internet thinking that you did or believing things, like everything on the internet's forever. I'll go to my grave saying I was innocent and I didn't do anything, and there's going to still be people who believe that that was me. And I think that Catherine, it took a lot of strength for her to turn around. And I think it was shortly after that. And then when she was left hanging dry with that picture, the Mother's Day picture, I think that was her point. That she realized she cannot count on these people. Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles. Interesting how many pages we have on here. And I'm wondering here if the Page of Pentacles in this was trying to sell us on an idea like, no, it wasn't that bad. Almost the Page of Pentacles, you could almost take that as never complain, never explain. Just look at what I have. Just look at this shiny thing. Figure it out. Do you want it or don't you? You don't do any explaining or anything about what it is. Nine of Cups. Well, somebody got their wish. I think it was Camilla. Camilla got her wish. Somebody else got to get thrown under the bus over something that she said, even though it was taken out of context and twisted, made into a weapon. But there's the smugness. There's the smugness. Strength in reverse. Six of Cups in reverse. This ruined relationships. Absolutely ruined relationships. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. This might have been one of the times that Catherine had had enough of Harry and his goofy wife. And here she is. Knight of Wands. Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. That was it. That we asked the cards, was that it? And that was it. That pulled the plug on, that was Catherine's line in the sand. And it's interesting because we just heard Barkjack say that he has the receipts that says that Catherine has not talked to Harry or Meghan since September 2022. So anything that they come up with about Catherine is a lie. But this pulled the root. This was pulled up from the roots by Catherine. This, I think, this, and you know, it's so interesting because when that happened to me about what was on the internet, it can destroy families. It can destroy friendships. It can, it is terrorism. I'm sorry, it is. When people lie about you on the internet, it's terrorism. I think this really damaged Catherine's, I don't want to say commitment. I was going to say not commitment to the royal family. I think it really damaged I think from that point on, she did what she wanted to do and didn't listen to a lot of the royal things. I think if anything, it dimmed the light in her eyes about what the royal family is really all about. But that was the nail in the coffin for Harry and Meghan and the royal family. So apparently the last time Catherine ever spoke anything, text, phone call, Zoom, in person, was at the Queen's funeral in September 2022. And then, of course, she had her cancer. And then before then, Charles was like my darling daughter-in-law, and I really feel bad for Catherine. Like, she's done nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. And yet, when push comes to shove, she gets shoved. I don't think she'll ever talk to Harry again. Knight of Swords, there it is. Assassination by words. That's what they did to her. Wow. Oh, I don't blame her if she doesn't talk to any of them ever again. Just stick with her and William and the kids. And I know they talk to Anne a lot, and Anne's family, and probably Edward and Sophie. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have little to no communication with Charles and Camilla. Take good care. See you online. Bye for now.